In this episode, we're going to build a user authentication system with Angular 4 and Firebase. Authentication is required in almost every Angular application, including this basic to-do list app. The app currently has no authentication at all, but we want the user to be able to log in with their Google, Facebook, Twitter, or GitHub account. At this point, it is assumed that the Angular Fire 2 package is installed and bootstrapped in your app. If not, go to the docs or check out this video. We're going to keep this feature super simple. The auth service will handle all the interaction with the Firebase API. The user login component will handle the login and logout actions from the user. And the user profile component will show details about the user that are returned from Firebase. Head over to your Firebase project and enable the providers you want to use. For non-Google providers, you will need to get your own developer account and API keys. The way you handle authentication with Firebase is by subscribing to the Angular Fire Auth observable, which returns a Firebase auth state object. Now that we have the auth state object, we can take advantage of TypeScript accessors to get attributes. Here's the beauty of Firebase. You can implement 4 social auth providers with very little code. I start by creating a reusable private function that takes the provider as an argument called social sign-in. When a user attempts to sign in, 2 things can happen, success or failure. When it's a success, the then code will execute, and if it's an error, the catch code will execute. At this point, you may be wondering what the update user data function is about. It's optional, but you may want to save user records to the Firebase real-time database whenever a user logs in. It can be useful if you plan on iterating over users in your app or if you collect additional data during sign-up. We finish off the service by creating an action for each of the 4 providers. This is as simple as returning the result of the social sign-in function. With the auth service complete, we can now inject it into any component. Here's how you might create a login component with functions to log in or sign out a user with each provider. In the template, we can then bind these functions to the click event. The accessors we created in the service come in handy in the template for adding conditional logic that can tell whether or not a user signed in or whether they have a certain access level to some content. Wraps up OAuth with Firebase. Check out our full Firebase OAuth article for more details on this code, and I'll see you next time.